homemaker as well? Kyle, Sean, whoever? Great. Sean, that section, I think this is going to be the last section we're going to be able to fit on there. So when I'm done, when we roll for the next screen on camera, I'll download the stuff. But make sure the camera's charging. You got to make sure that extension cord is plugged in, which I don't think it is. All right. So the names and uses section. Yeah. Okay. There's a homemaker, obviously. This section is really simple. It is the longest section of the presentation because you're just running through all the knives in the homemaker set. Now remember, the homemaker set is your middle set. Okay, it's designed for your average family. Okay, and if you read the intro on page 6, okay, can I have a volunteer to read the top paragraph on page 6? Go.
This is our basic set. Realizing the importance of having the right tools, we had a group of home economists design your basic Cutco set to have a minimum number of tools to do 100% of the jobs in your kitchen as efficiently as possible. This set is called our homemaker set. That starts with your.
Okay, so when it says it's your basic set, again, do 100% of the jobs of a kitchen with the most minimum number of tools possible. Okay, so it doesn't have an excessive number, nor does it have a lack of tools. It's just giving you kind of the minimum for doing everything in the kitchen. Now each knife has a nickname. Okay, I'm going to have you write the nickname on the set of the knife there, and then I'm also going to have you star certain ones. And the ones I'm going to have you star are the ones that are included in your sample set. Okay, so you know which ones are in there, and then which ones you can win in your fast start. Okay, so let's just kind of plow through this. The pairing knife, the nickname is the air knife. The reason why it's called an air knife is because the cutting is generally done where? Literally in the air. Okay, that's why it's called that. Hey, Kyle, or I have 2 pairing knives. Right. So the pairing knife has a long handle. Okay, it says most pairing knives have a short, stubby handle that digs into your palm. This is a full-size handle for greater comfort, control, and makes it safer. The blank is pitting peaches and nectarines, removing eyes from potatoes, removing roots and stems from fruits and vegetables, slicing bananas for cereal, removing tops from fresh strawberries and coring apples. Anyone love strawberries? I love strawberries, my favorite fruit. You can pass this down. That is your pairing knife. I did have a rep once shave with it on a dare. Right? That was Masamba Sinclair. I do not encourage. Okay? The next one is the trimmer. Okay? The trimmer, by the way, star the pairing knife because that will be in your sample set. Star the trimmer as well. The nickname is utility knife. Which one? The pairing knife? Yeah, it's cool. Right, the next one's the utility knife trimmer. This is your everyday tool in the kitchen. You can see that mine has the pearl handle. All of our knives come with the classic, you can show them the pairing knife, with a pearl handle. Okay, this one's, which color do you like better? Which color do you think most people pick? That one is definitely more popular because I think that's what most people expect knives to look like. But these are becoming a lot more popular, especially as kitchens get more modern. Okay, they're just becoming lighter and brighter. Okay, you have a question here. Have you ever tried to cut a tomato with a dull knife? Have any of you tried to do that? And I'm going to tell you. Okay, tomato is like what we do, you know? And if you've ever tried with a dull knife, what usually happens to tomato? Yeah, it just squishes down because the blade is usually dull where it just kind of pushes instead of cuts. Well, in the back I have a bag of tomatoes, so I guess I'm going to show you in a little bit. Okay, how this really works on a tomato. That's from the trimmer. Right? Sectioning grapefruit, slicing cucumbers and potatoes, trimming fat from meat, skinning chicken, removing corn from the cobs. What's the next tool? Spatula spreader, star this one as well. Okay? The nickname is the sandwich maker. This is like a regular spatula. It's very flexible, except it has the double D edge. It's a sandwich making machine. It makes it easier to get into jars of mayo or peanut butter and jelly. Do any of you still to this day eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? Yep. And you will till you're 90. Okay, so nice and handy. You can cut sandwiches and have only one tool to clean. Right? It's good for cutting and serving lasagna. So cutting and serving lasagna, casserole, pizza, brownies, pies. I love brownies. Right? Icing, cutting, and serving cakes. You see the new brownie thing where it's all ends? Yeah. You did a brownie maker or whatever, so each piece looks like an end? Yeah, it's cool. Or the brownie, whatever it's called. Right? It used to be an infomercial. I love the ends. The ends, that's part of the brownie. Right? What's the next tool? Now, where have they already seen the T carver? Well, this is the one that what they do with it. They just cut the rope, exactly. So you already see people have an interest in it just because they've already used it. Okay, it's just kind of common to see that reaction. Star it as well. The nickname is the in-between knife, and I think people understand why. But we'll explain it anyway. Okay, it's the in-between knife. This is the one you use to cut the rope. It's the in-between knife for jobs too big for the trimmer and too small for the carver. Great for separating English muffins and bagels evenly. If you ever try to cut a bagel and you get one piece that's this thick, one piece that's this thin, this one doesn't fit in the toaster and this one burns to a crisp, right? Because they're not even, or you get the kind of wave cut of a bagel, right? So this one, nice and clean, straight through. It's large enough, but not too large for small roasts and chickens. Great for poultry, steaks, and small roasts, large vegetables and fruits such as eggplant, squash, and cantaloupe, and carving pumpkin. Do any of you know any vegetarians? Right? So is that knife just for meat? No. So understand that even though it's called a petite carver, the reason why we call it the in-between knife is because it can be used for a lot of other things, especially big vegetables. Okay? One of my reps, Carly, her whole family, they're all vegans and vegetarians. So, you know, everything they do, it's like, I mean, obviously people eat too. They don't just have to eat meat. You know, so just make sure people understand the other uses. What's the next tool? Turning fork, starred as well. This one will also come to your set. And by the way, here's a petite carver, complete with my fingerprints. Turning fork is next. Starred. Right, the nickname is the flipper. Right? Have you ever had a hard time frying food or turning food in a frying pan? You know what they're talking about there? Where you try to pick something up, what happens? Just kind of falls apart or falls off, right? Listen to this thing, okay? Just listen very carefully to the prompt. Did you hear that? First of all, look at that. Just by pressing down, it's literally picking up a piece of paper that's attached by the tip. Okay, that's how sharp these prongs are. Okay, razor sharp tips. Okay, I mean razor sharp. Okay, notice the metal doesn't run all the way through the handle on the outside. Anyone know why? Yes, if you're holding this in a steak or a roast or a turkey or something, the inside of a steak has to be 100 and something degrees. Okay, the inside of a turkey is 160. So if that's 160, guess what? The temperature of the metal becomes very quick. And metal transmits heat very quickly, so you burn your hands. So what they do is they melt the thermal resistor around the metal, okay? And it's guaranteed up to about 150 pounds of pressure before that would ever come out. So it's really strong, but they do that so that people don't obviously burn themselves. You can pass this down. Okay, that's your turning fork. Okay, 3 extremely sharp pointed tines that have been shaped to make it easier to use. Great for turning bacon, sausage, ham, chicken, French toasts, stir-frying vegetables, removing olive pickles and cherries from the jar. Okay. Next one. What's the next one? Butcher knife. Nickname of this one is a barbecue knife. I didn't pass the spatula spreader today. Spatula spreader makes really cool sounds. That one, and of course, that one. Right, you can do your hair in the morning, right, finish your makeup, whatever you need to do, while making breakfast. So butcher knife is the barbecue knife. This one does not come in your sample set, but you can win it in what contest? Fast serve. We put a lot of stuff in your fast serve, okay? This one, have you ever tried to cut something that was so hard you thought your knife would break? Okay? Well, this is the protector and money saver of the set. And one of the most common uses of this, separating frozen hot dogs and hamburgers. Because what generally happens when people try to separate those? They bend the knife, they cut themselves, they slip, they bend a fork, they bend a knife, they break a knife. Okay, this one, it's a sharp, straight edge. It's a really, really, really strong blade. Okay, so you can literally put it, what you do is you take the hamburgers, which are normally stacked. What separates the hamburger patties? A little plastic or paper, right? What happens when you pull the paper? It never works, does it? Where it's supposed to separate it? So you rip the corner of the paper, right? And then you're stuck with these frozen patties. So you turn them on their side, and you literally take the straight edge, put it in between the patties, and you just whack it straight down. And it just kind of separates. It's really cool, okay? So this is your butcher knife. Okay, heavy-duty knife that protects all the other tools in the set. You save money when you buy chicken whole instead of pre-cut. Anyone know how much a whole chicken costs? What's that? No, so that's about like $8, you know, for like a whole chicken. But do any of you know how much 2 chicken breasts cost on their own? More, even more, like $6. Then 2 legs, like $4. Then 2 wings, like $4, $3. Then 2 thighs. So when you pay the butcher or the supermarket to separate them for you, you end up spending twice the amount for a chicken. Now, I remember telling my mom that. She's like, well, I would never separate my chicken. That's so annoying. It's so stupid. Why would I do that? The butcher does that. You know, but when she had this, it became a lot easier to do. You know, my mom hates to cook. Right? One reason why is I'm a family of 6. Right? That's how I grew up. So cooking was never a small thing. It was like, you know, diner. It was like diner food. Smell that?
Yeah.
It smells like landscaping, doesn't it? Is there a tractor outside? All right. Okay, so that's your butcher knife. Next knife. What's the next set? The next knife. The French or petite chef. Okay? This is your chef knife right here. Okay? Now, your sample kit has the petite chef, so star that. The French chef is just an inch longer, and the homemaker comes standard with the French chef. The blanks there, food processor. Okay, food processor and time saver of the set. Okay, the nickname of this one is your handheld food processor, which it says, or your OJ knife, whatever you want to call it. You know, OJ Simpson, those of you who don't remember, right? It's got a high knuckle clearance, and it's the safest knife in the set. What that means is that when you bounce it up and down to dice and chop, your knuckles aren't hitting the countertop, so it makes it a lot easier to use that way. Okay? The reason it's called a chef knife is if you ever watch the Food Network or one of those people on TV, what do they always have in their hand? Some version of this. Okay? And a lot of customers don't have one because no one ever taught them how to use it. Guess what I'm going to teach you how to do? And guess what you can teach your customers to do? How to use it as well. Okay? That's what we do. So you can pass that down. All right. Okay, for dicing, mincing, and chopping fruits, nuts, and vegetables like onions, carrots, celery, or walnuts. The 5 S's: salad, soup, stew, stir fry, and stuffing. Good luck saying that one fast. Okay? What's the next one? Slicer. Okay? Again, this one will not be in your sample set, but you can win it in the what? Faster. Okay? This is my mom's favorite knife. The reason why my mom makes roast beef all the time. Roast beef has no bone in it. Okay, this is really good for boneless meats. Okay? My mom also found this newfound love of baking. Okay, after we all moved out of the house, of course, right? She now makes homemade bread. Never in my life living home did I ever have homemade bread. Apparently, when we left, she now makes homemade bread. Okay, but this one, have you ever smashed warm, soft bread? Okay, hot, warm bread, you know, that nice, soft, gooey bread, while trying to cut it. Well, the slicer glides through piping hot homemade bread and French bread without smashing it or tearing it. Okay, I think you understand. Italian bread has that really hard crust on the outside, so when you try to cut it, what happens to that crust?